everyone, this is Maria with M. Taylor Creations. Welcome back to my channel for another tutorial video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below to see more content. Alright, so I'm going to start out with a stamp set from Stampin' Up and also another stamp set from Hobby Lobby. So first I'm going to take the panda from the Stampin' Up Party Pandas stamp set. It was from a celebration event a couple of years ago. I think it was one of my first Stampin' Up stamp sets actually. I'm just going to take the one that's got a little party hat and stamp him out a few times using some Memento Tuxedo ink. And just using my stamp positioner, make sure I have that nice and crisp. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and stamp this a couple more times. I want to create a line of party pandas. Instead of trying to clean my stamp with the red rubber, I find it a little bit harder to get it fully clean whenever I want to move it along to another area of my project. So I just use a piece of packaging and just lay the stamp on there and then get it where I want it and pick it back up with the positioner. At this point I realized I probably needed to put a piece of scrap paper underneath my cardstock there just to help eliminate too much ink getting on my stamp positioner tool. So I'll just go through and stamp this little party panda a few more times. And then we'll position for a third panda over to the left side here. And again, just using my packaging. Trying to get them up, lined up fairly closely to where the other ones are lined up on there. And again, we'll just use the same Memento Tuxedo black ink. Okay, just give him a good rub, make sure he's good and stamped out there. Okay, so next I want to line my party pandas up on that black cardstock, but first I want to trim off a little bit of that excess at the top from the white cardstock. And this ended up being around 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Then I've got a piece of black cardstock from my stash that is 4 1/4 inches wide, and then just whatever amount needed to have the height I wanted with the scallop die. Just using some washi tape here to secure my die where I want that. I'll run this through my die cutting machine. Bring this back and carefully take off my washi tape because I didn't want the cardstock coming up where I'm going to have that showing underneath the pandas. Okay, so line this up, just kind of get an idea of how that looks. Okay, and so at this point I'll go ahead and color the hats. And then a little bit also on the pandas just so they're not flat. So I'm just using some Copic chow markers I've got. Right now I'm using the RV13. And then YR15. Just for sort of a pastel rainbow color here. Okay, and then my yellow is going to be Y15. And then my green is going to be YG13. And I'm not doing any shading here. It's a really small image. And then my blue is B93. And then my purple is BV13. Then next I'll just take a C1 and a C2. Taking a C2 first, a little bit darker, just go around and give some shading just to kind of help round up the panda images here. And I'll do all three of them the same way. I'm just going to show the coloring on one of them. Okay, so after I get the C2, I'm going to go ahead and now start with the C1. Just kind of extend that a little bit more just to kind of help fade out the color on the white areas of the panda. And again, do that to all three of them. And then I also have an artist loft. I think it's a Michael's brand. Colorless blender, just trying to help fade that more into white. And then just so it doesn't look like they're floating in air, I'm going to take those same markers, the C2 and C1, and just ground the pandas a little bit. And also the colorless blender there, just to kind of fade out to the white. And I do have the image on just some thick plastic, just so I'm not bleeding into my table. Sometimes the Copic markers do bleed through a little bit. Okay, now I'll just use some art glitter glue to adhere my image to the black cardstock. Put my pen back in my glue again. Okay, and then next, looking at my panel here, I have just a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel, white, that I'm going to put the stamp on that says Hip Hooray right below the pandas, and so I'm going to line that up and go ahead and bring back my stamp positioner tool just to make sure I get a good stamp on that, just because the cardstock is a little textured and so it wasn't giving a clear image whenever I was first stamping. So I just want to bring that back so I don't mess up there. And I did add a piece of fun foam for the clear stamps. I find I get a little bit better of a image whenever I have that cushion behind the cardstock, and so that's just some fun foam. Okay, that looks good to me. And I did use VersaFine Onyx black ink for that, a little bit clearer. It does take a few extra minutes to fully dry, and so I'm trying to avoid touching that area at this point. Probably should have heat embossed it, but I think it came out fine. And now there's a little set of confetti that is in the Stampin' Up stamp set, and just adding that to the top just so it's not so plain up there. And again, using that VersaFine Onyx black ink. Checking to see if I wanted to add any of those at the bottom, but just decided I like just the sentiment at the bottom. Okay, next I'm going to grab some double-sided tape, and I want to add some twine to my image, and so I just want to be able to adhere the twine as I'm wrapping it around, and so just using a couple pieces of double-sided tape here on either side, and then trying to figure if I want black and white or just the black, and I decided to go with just the black. And I'll just wrap this around 3 times. And just making sure I catch that double-sided tape on the back each time just to help secure that on my image. And then I'll cut a little piece and just thread that through, and I'll tie a bow a little bit later. Then just using some double-sided foam. And I get this from the dollar store. It's just a low profile foam tape. I like the width of it. That way it's not too high above on my image. Okay, just adhering this to my image, the back of my image, and then I'll take off the release paper and attach that to my panel. Trying to get that string, I don't want it to catch underneath my foam tape there. Okay, so just lining that up, making sure that I like the spacing between the top of my panel and also the sentiment. Okay, next I will take the card base, and now there's another panda that I like in the set that's holding a little balloon, and so I'm going to stamp that on the inside of my card just to decorate that a little bit. I'm not going to worry about coloring that or anything, just to have some decoration on the inside. Cute little panda. Okay, and again, this ink, the Versa Fine, does take a few minutes to dry, so I'm just leaving that open over to the side. And then the last little panda, there's 3 pandas, and so the last one is really cute. It's holding a little envelope with a heart, and so I decided to decorate my envelope as well. And so just at the bottom left hand corner, I'm adding that last panda. And I don't do it here, but I do eventually color in that little heart that's on the envelope. Just checking to make sure my ink's dry. And then I'm going to take some art glitter glue and just attach my panel over to my card base. And I just like to line it up on the crease of where my card base is. That way I can cut off any excess if I need to. But this ends up lining up perfectly, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I'm going to fuss with making a bow. I'm going to go ahead and cut that part out though, because it took a little time. Still trying to fuss with it a little bit, just trying to make sure that the bow looks okay, and then I cut off the excess on the edge there. Then I bring in some Nuvo crystal drops in the gloss ebony black, and just trying to figure out my placement here where I want to have these, and place a few of these around. And these come out pretty rounded, so I don't have to fuss with it too much, but if they come out kind of peaked, I do kind of hit them on the top of my Nuvo Drops bottle just to kind of flatten them out some. And then this is actually another card I made using the Casual Fridays Peaceful Garden stamp set. I wanted to share with a similar design. Here's a couple still images. Again, thank you for checking out my channel and my project. Let me know below which card you liked better, the panda or the floral. Have a great day.